Okay guys, part two of fixing the KDX clutch rattle. So we talked about fixing that movement, but there's the other movement. So you can see here that, well, maybe you can't see, but this will be filled with notches. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to file away those notches. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. Get your file and run it from, actually let me get my file and I can show you that. So there's going to be lots of notches across these edges, and we want to file away those notches. All you do is take a file and you're going to run it across the opposite tangs, keep it smooth and flat, and then you can move it backwards and forwards slowly and remove those notches. So that's once that is done, that's going to give you a smoother clutch lever operation, because those tangs are not catching on those teeth. That's very important. But that alone is not going to stop the noise, and the noise is created by you've got your clutch plate that sits in the clutch basket between those grooves, and that will rock backwards and forwards because it has too much play. So that play comes from a couple of factors. It comes from the tang's wear, and I can just show you that with my vernier calipers. So if we take a measurement from that wear point at its lowest, we can see that it's 152, and if we take it from the high spot where it doesn't contact the basket, we can see it's 167. Is that picking up on the camera? There it is. So it got me thinking, if this gap is bigger, wouldn't it be nice to have a tang which is also bigger, and that will take up the slack in that basket? Yes, you can go and buy a brand new billet basket, and if you have the money, do that. I recommend it, because this technique that I came up with is not for everyone. But I have 3 KDXs. I can't go out and buy 3 billet clutch baskets, 3 sets of steel plates, 3 sets of friction plates. I'd have no money left. So I came up with a little fix. What we're going to do is we're going to want this tang to be wider, and that will take up that gap. Now, you're probably thinking you can't make things wider. You can only make things smaller by filing the sides. So if I show you this measurement, you can see that this is 13.62. If I show you this clutch plate, this is, trying to get it in the right spot, 13.75. And you're thinking, how did I get this clutch plate wider? And I'm going to show you. Let's move over to my anvil. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this clutch plate, we're going to sit it on the anvil. Don't sit it like that. You want to sit it right on the edge, just the tang on the edge. You're going to take a suitably sized punch. You're going to put that punch on the tang, and then you're going to give it a tappy tap with a hammer. Camera's in the way, so I'm not going to do it as I would like to do it. You're going to do that very carefully, and what that's going to do is it's going to flatten that tang slightly, and as it becomes flatter, it's also going to make it wider. You don't want to hammer right on the edges, otherwise you're just going to burr out the edges, and that's going to give you a false measurement. We want the whole thing to be slightly wider. As that gets wider, that is going to limit the movement in the clutch basket. Now, you can also make a mess. I tried sitting that on top of that, and I tapped it and it completely snapped off. So I'm not recommending this technique to everyone. Like I say, if you have the money, go out and buy a Pitaka or a Pro X or a Wiseco clutch basket, and the appropriate clutch plates. This is just if you need to get it fixed. and you don't have the spare funds, then this is a technique I came up with, and we can try and get more service out of the original clutch basket. Don't if the plates, I recommend, if the plates are, the tangs are worn, buy new clutch plates, then you have the right size tang, then you can try and splay out this area. Don't try splay out worn clutch tangs. It's kind of just too much movement in that direction. That's it, guys. That's the end of part 2. I can't think of anything to add to it. Oh, just what I came up with as a second idea, rather than hit them on the vise, rather than hit them on the anvil, you could just pop the tang into a vise, and maybe you could apply enough pressure to crush it, or you could apply pressure and then give it a tap on there, and that would crush that tang to splay it out a little bit. There's probably lots of different ways you can do it. I just did the first way that came to mind, and sometimes the first way is not always the best way. After you sleep on it for a while, and then next day you think, I could have done it a better way. That's it, guys. That concludes part 2. That's fixing the noisy KDX clutch.